let's get to the subject. To purge or not to purge? Have you ever asked that question of yourself? Let me give you some background where this kind of come from. We're in this spring season, right? If you look around you, it's getting warmer, all the things. And if you have allergies, you've probably experienced the pollen. I know I have. But it puts you in a place, and if you're from the South like I am, every year around this time, most people did some spring cleaning. You come out of the slumber months of the winter and you're like, okay, we got to get some things ready for the summer. You're shifting seasons. Maybe it's in clothing, things you're going to wear now that you didn't wear the last 3 to 5 months because it was a little chillier. So now you're putting the sweaters and the sweatshirts away, and you're bringing out the t-shirts and the shorts, and you're looking, I'm like, yeah, I probably need to get rid of this because it doesn't really fit me anymore. I put on a little weight this winter. Oof. Um, but we all get in this place of purge. And if you don't purge, then you probably should. It's okay. It's a safe thing. Well, here's the background. My wife and I, we used to move, and we have moved over the course of our marriage a lot. And it's funny, I was military, but I never left this area. So we just moved in this area, which is really weird. But as we've grown in our family, we started out in a 1 bedroom apartment. Then we upgraded to two. Then we got pregnant and moved up to a three. And then we moved into a house. And then we had 2 kids. And then we had 3 kids. And we moved up in another house. And then we moved from one city to the other, moved back. Oh, I told you, it's a journey with me and our family with 3 kids, 4 dogs. We're like a circus, right? Maybe that's you. Maybe you're listening today. But when we moved into the house we're in now, we moved in February of 2020. And I believe all of you can understand what happened that year and remember back, and they're not so good memories for many. But the COVID season, right? So we moved in February. We moved everything out of our house before that. And as we're moving in, the garage became our staging ground. We brought everything in through the garage and kind of sat there. And as we shifted and put things in living room and kitchen and bedrooms and bathrooms, we were left with a pile of stuff that didn't have a home. Now, I knew where it came from, and I knew what the answer was going to be because I said, well, what do we want to do to this? She goes, well, put it in the attic, which is where it had come from. When we moved from the last place, we had pulled all the stuff out of the attic. And now all of this stuff was going to go right back to where it came. Now, some of that had merit, or Christmas decorations. My wife is a very, very big decorator for holidays. So we have plenty of those. But you know what? That stuff goes up and it comes down. Christmas time, all of it comes down. The lights that don't work are evaluated and thrown away. New ones are bought. But at the end of the Christmas season, everything's packaged up in boxes and moved back up into the attic. So it comes and it goes. But even in those seasonal moments, there's purging for those. Luggage is another good one, right? You don't want just luggage hanging around the house. So if you have an attic space, generally your luggage resides up there because it's always a temporary need. If you're traveling, flying, going on vacation, whatever it is, you pull it down, you use it, and when you're done, you bring it back up. If it's torn or whatever, you have to get a new one. You throw it away and you get a new one and put it back in its place. So these are the purges that happened a lot, like the seasonal purges, the ones we were talking about with clothing and things. Those are put in place for moments we know that we have to do it. And that's where the spring cleaning kind of comes in. But it was all the other junk, crap, whatever title you want to put on it, that was sitting there that had come out of one attic. And the only reason we were having this conversation is because we were moving it from one attic to another. See, as I looked at those things, I realized over the course of our marriage, there was a lot of things that had gone from attic to attic to attic, but realistically had lost its value a long time. It just took up space. So I made a decision. I said, nope, we are not going to put that in the attic. The only thing that's going in the attic in this home is things that will come up and go down, things that we're constantly evaluating. All of this stuff that resided in an attic, we're going to find out if it really is valuable or not. First, we're going to find out if there's a space for it. If there was a space in the home, we can use it. We did. Otherwise, we bought some shelves in our garage, and there it was. Piled up, boxed up, all the things. So now let me take you back to February of 2020 because March of 2020, everything drastically shifted all of a sudden. Over the course of those next 6 to 7 months, we spent a lot of time in our home, as many of you did. And then we begin to shift some things. Maybe your home office occurred in a space that wasn't necessarily designed for that. Ours was the gym. We began to work out. So our garage, as it began to take space, we picked up some dumbbells, all the things, and we began to work out in our garage. And slowly but surely, we realized we didn't have enough room, and we had to make the decision: purge or not to purge. I think over the course of that 6 to 7 months, we may have done two, maybe three purges. And all of the things that we refused, or I did, if you really want to get down to it, refused to put in the attic. Now we had to take a priority of it. We really had to evaluate: keep or not to keep. That's the question. And as we would go through these things, we begin to purge things that over the course of at that point, I'm going to do some math here. 4 years, it goes back, 16 years of marriage. Yeah, I can do quick math. 16 years of marriage at that point that we had accrued, that somehow had just hung on. Maybe there was moments that something broke or wasn't operating as best it could, and you're like, you know what? I'll fix that one day. There's no sense in throwing it away. It still has some value, so you stick it up in a corner. Eventually, it moves from one corner to the next, and eventually makes its way up to the attic. Yeah, those are generally the things that get stuck. That's one of the things, right? The things that we feel like what someday we'll reuse or repair. But what really happens is you go buy something new, because we live in the Amazon time frame that if something breaks within 1 to 2 days, if you're a Prime person, you can get a replacement really quickly and relatively cheap. Definitely cheaper in the time and energy it would take to fix it or replace it, because it's not a priority to you. Otherwise, it wouldn't have ended up in the attic, right?